You said orange lemonade.
Yeah, I'm an idiot.
You are?
Yes, you're just realising this?
Oh, no.
Look.
She's got a big twig. Oh, it's a clever pigeon.
You ready? If things aren't itching, then it's probably a cold.
Cold. You see, normally...
In a nest.
Full fat, full sugar Coke.
Yes, because anything less is insulting. I'm like Monica and mayonnaise.
It doesn't...
Built by the Archbishop of York, Roger de Palmavent. Can you imagine the impact it must have had on the team?
The table will, but... Because that's heavy, but...
Are you ready, woman? Mm-hmm. Cool.
But
6.
six on the list.
Oh,
6
right.
on the list.
Do you need to look and see?
Do you need to look?
No, seriously.
Talk to me sometimes like
No,
this.
but if you look, see.
Netherlands, and I can't remember the last one.
Welcome, everybody, to episode 129. And this is going to be the greatest episode of the Bakery Bears ever.
Wow.
Now, why do you ask?
Yes, why?
Because they're all shouting why. Well,
I'm shouting why.
it's for many, many reasons. First of all, amazing pork pies will be had in the course of this episode. And we'd be very interested to know, in your pork pie experience, wherever you are in the world. That's to come later.
This is it's the best pork pie I've ever had.
Bar none, end of.
Absolutely bar none.
Yes.
Yeah.
We have some amazing finished objects. My goodness, one of them in particular, well, I was present at the taking of the photographs. Maybe
Because they were very pretty.
Today.
We were very pleased with the photography. It was
Talk
very
about
pretty.
find the perfect spot. Well, we most certainly did.
We did.
So if you're here to see lovely knitting in beautiful settings, you're going to see it.
Yes.
You can tick that box. We also have the most stupendous new adventure ever.
It's so nice.
I have no words.
We had such a great day filming, didn't we?
We absolutely did. Do you know what? Summer is a time... I mentioned last episode, actually, I've just written an article all about my love of summer. Although this summer has been particularly acceptable. That's as far as I'll go.
So far, don't tempt fate.
I'm not even tempting fate, because all I'm saying is it's acceptable. And it would have to become
worse.
freezing cold and ice for it to become any better than acceptable.
When I say we've had worse, I mean we've had hotter, is what I mean.
This is as good as it gets
Yeah.
with regards to recent English summers.
Yeah.
But one of the things which was the bane of my young life, and I'm sure continues to be for many of you, is hay fever. And in the course of the last 2 weeks, I was becoming more and more concerned that our daughter, Bryony, was starting to suffer with similar hay fever to what I used to get when I was young, because she was exuding all the same symptoms. So we were trying all different sorts of drugs. And what was weird was, initially the drugs were working, so I have a feeling at the start there was a little bit of hay fever going on.
I think she does get a bit of hay fever.
Just a tiny bit. Because the symptoms of hay fever and a cold are so similar,
yeah.
it just becomes hard. How are you supposed to diagnose it?
Well, normally...
Itching.
Yeah, I mean...
I've done some research now. If things aren't itching, then it's probably a cold.
Cold. You see, normally with the cold with Bryony, I can tell, when it's on the way to being a cold, I can usually tell. This was an entirely different sort of cold, wasn't it? And I think summer colds...
It's called a summer cold.
Yeah, summer colds do tend to be different.
Now,
and we honestly thought it was hay fever for about 3 days.
So I was happily...
But then we realised...
Well, I was happily playing away with her and everything lovely, and yes, got a bit of hay fever. And then, of course, her cold became my cold.
Yeah, then Dan got a cold and we went... And
my cold hit right in the middle of filming.
It did.
So
his voice sounded really weird.
Please do forgive me, because I wasn't feeling very good at all. It's the worst cold I've had in years. You have derailed me before I got to the reason why this is the best ever episode of the Bakery Bears in the history of the Bakery Bears, and that's because my life is now complete. The circle is one.
Right.
Because I am human, aren't we all?
We are.
And we all have our vices. We all have the things
I know what you're going to
which,
say.
you know, I like to think that I'm a good boy in many ways. After all my health excitement, we both gave up an awful lot of bad things. We gave up most bad things. In fact, to Kay's disgust, I tend to put quinoa in most things I eat. And I accidentally put some in some meatballs we had the other week.
I said to him, we had spaghetti and meatballs, and he's made it a million times, and we used turkey mince for meatballs. And I said, I was eating this meatball, and I said, what have you put into this? And he's like, well, nothing, just all the same ingredients. And I said, well, what are these little black bits? And I was like, you've put quinoa in these meatballs.
Not deliberately.
I still think he did it deliberately.
It's not true.
I think he's trying to pass his health thing on to us. I advise you not to put quinoa in your meatballs.
The point being is, I'm into my healthy stuff, but there's one thing which is not healthy that I do quite like a lot. It's called Coke. Now.
Full fat, full sugar Coke.
Yes, because anything less is insulting. I'm like Monica and mayonnaise. So look, I love Coke. So we're in the shops the other day, and we're strolling down the aisle.
It was in the juice aisle.
Yes.
Bizarrely.
Yes. I'd sent Kay off on a mission. Don't you love this? Is this a global problem? We may have spoken of this before, but it's been particularly frustrating me recently. Look, I love lemonade. Fresh lemonade. Not fizzy lemonade, freshly squeezed orange lemonade. Still...
Orange lemonade?
Sorry, lemonade. Lemonade. Not orangeade. Forgive me.
You said orange lemonade.
Yeah, I'm an idiot.
You are?
Yes, you're just realising this?
Oh, no.
Look, I love lemonade, and there's one particular type. There's only one type that I can get, and we've tried many.
Yeah. Oh, you've tried many.
Kay's frustration.
I'd just drink any of it.
We've traipsed miles.
I'm like, try this one. And he likes the ones that are in the fresh juice aisle.
It's just got to be fresh. All I want is freshly squeezed lemons with a tiny bit of water and hardly any sugar. That is all I want, okay? So
make it yourself, I suppose.
Absolutely. So, look, perfect, this drink. So what did they go and do? They moved it.
They moved it
on the
else.
shelf. Okay, so you're in the juice bit. The taste the difference lemonade is right there. So why is just the standard lemonade? Why is it not next to it?
Because they want you to have to go looking for it, and then you might accidentally buy something else at the same time. This is why they move stuff randomly. It's so that you buy more things. We're not stupid. We're not daft. You know. We know why supermarkets do this.
It's so frustrating. So Kay's with me, and I said, "Look, let's do a test. Let's see if you can find the lemon." Of course, she found it in about a second. Because men look, but they don't see.
It's true.
It's not true.
It is true.
So we're there, looking at the lemonade, and then there, it hoved into view on the shelf, and I have the bottle. I can show it to you.
The bottle, because I saw it and I said, I think this is quite good for you.
Folks,
I've never had it.
You need to prepare yourselves. I'm going to change your lives. Because this is Coke that is good for you. I'm not messing you around here. Look at this. This is completely organic, full of live cultures.
Can't see the
It's
thing.
green tea, baby.
It's kombucha. It's from Number One Living, and this is cola flavour, if you can see. So it's a green tea based drink, and green tea is very good for you. As far as I'm aware, it's full of antioxidants. So it's all natural ingredients.
Now, look.
And they have different flavours.
Look, first of all, they've got ginger.
Yeah, there was ginger, there was raspberry, there was cola, and there was lemonade.
And I've been having a lot of the ginger shots.
Yeah.
Who's that by again? I can't remember.
I follow them on Instagram.
Moju or something. Moju.
Moju.
Yes. And I love that. It's really great. This is so much better.
It's really nice. I had a little bit. I didn't want to deprive him of it because the bottles are small and it's not cheap.
It's not cheap at all.
This was £1.95.
This is a big time special treat.
Yeah, £1.95 and there's 275 mils.
But
so
what is so amazing about this drink? There's two things. The first thing is it's not super fizzy.
No, it's not. It says lightly sparkling, and
Yeah.
it is lightly sparkling.
It's just sparkling enough. But what is mind-blowing about it is it doesn't taste like Coke.
No.
It tastes like cola bottles.
Cola bottles, the sweets. It does.
And not the rubbish ones The really good ones.
You should have seen his face. I poured it into the glass and it's quite clear in colour. It's only slightly tinged with a slightly Coca-Cola colour, but it's fairly clear. And I poured it into the glass and he tasted it and I saw his face and I said, I can tell you love this. So I'm gonna get you some more for when we go on holiday as like a little treat every day. But it's really nice. We got it from Sainsbury's.
Yes.
If you're
honestly.
in this country and you want to go and try it.
If someone said to me in the year of 2019 you were going to be introduced to a Coke which you liked more than Coke that was good for you, I'd have said, well, go to the foot of our stairs. My goodness, you've got to try it because I think you just might like it. I think someone has an apology to make.
Do I?
Yes.
Why?
And that someone is you.
Why?
Because on a recent episode of the Bakery Bears, I think you might have been quite critical about a bag company and the bag in which I had purchased for you for your birthday.
Did I mention it on the podcast? Did I say?
Well, I can't fully remember. I do remember you saying somewhere.
I think I did.
I think you did too.
I think I did. Dan bought me a bag for my birthday, which was back in May, and I'd chosen the bag.
Yes.
But I couldn't go and look at one in real life because I couldn't find one in a shop anywhere. They didn't have the particular style. So I risked it and we ordered it online.
Yes.
And it came and I opened it on my birthday and I was like, don't think I like it. It just felt really heavy and I was worried about my back and I just had face on about it.
You tore it to shreds.
I did. But I decided last week when we went to film, I said, you know what, I'm going to try this bag. And guess what? I really liked it. And I feel really bad because I said all those things without even trying it. And that's terrible, isn't it?
It's very bad of you because we are
I
normally...
prejudged that bag.
We're normally very sort of strict. Certainly, I think with regards... It's probably because we've done so many reviews now over the years. You know, we're very sort of... You don't judge a book by its cover, you try it out first. Oh, no. As soon as she opened it, straps, rubbish. They don't come off. They're not detachable. Look at that. It's really heavy. And you said, do you know what? It's actually really light.
Because when you've got a rucksack on your back, it doesn't feel as heavy, does it, as carrying a bag on your shoulder, the way it's distributed and everything. So I've got the bag, so I will show you. It's, like I said, it's a Kipling bag, and here it is.
I've got to say, I feel so much better because I've just been feeling terrible about the whole birthday situation because I just thought,
you did.
Got this present and it's just dreadful, and you're like,
I wanted this colour because it's a lovely grey and it's like a kind of waxed. It's got this big pocket at the front where I kept my phone and that was easily accessible. It's side pockets where I kept my water, and a little snack. Oh, soft mints. Oh, look at that. Found treasure in my bag. So then it's got your straps at the back, and the reason I was miffed about it is it said that these were detachable.
Which is a fib.
They're not detachable. What happens is you unclip them here and then tuck them into this pocket here if you don't want to use them. That to me is not detachable.
Well,
and I'm still miffed that it said detachable and they're actually not. The reason I like it is that it's got these handles as well, these lovely leather handles. So you can carry it like a bag, like a normal handbag, or you can have it on your back. And it's got a really big inside compartment which has also got a zip. I don't know if it's zippered, but it's got a separate little thing that I keep. It is zippered. There's another zippered pocket where I keep my lipstick and stuff like that, and then everything else goes into the main bit.
We have to hope.
So I do really like it.
We have to hope that this is the end of the bag journey.
Yeah, I just
because
hope.
It's been long and checkered. Literally for the last 16 years, all of the years I've known Kay, it's been the same. I can't find a bag which is right for me. Yeah, and I'm going to take this on holiday. I think it's going to be great on holiday because, when we're out walking, I can have it on my back. But then when we're just around, shopping and things, it also works. And I really like the colour as well. I really wanted a neutral colour. That's enough talking, because I really want to know, because I've got no idea what she's going to show us today. Kay Jones, what's on your needles? I have 2 new projects to show. And something else too, I hope. And something else. Good. Yeah. Otherwise... 2 new and 1 existing. Not acceptable. 1 resurrected. Not acceptable. No. Well, the first one
I've got in a very old and much loved bag. It's a Star Wars bag, as you can see, and I purchased this years ago from Tangerine Designs. Can you remember Tangerine Designs? I don't even know if she still makes bags, to be honest. I have no idea. And it was probably about... It must be 5 years ago that I bought this. It was one of the very first bags that I ever bought.
Right.
And I love it. It's a drawstring, as you can see. It's got a square bottom. And every time I make socks for Dan that are appropriate for the bag, let's say, I use it. And I love it. It's just a great project bag. So in this lovely project bag, I've got a pair of socks for Dan. I thought it was time.
Are these the ones with the... Yes.
Yes.
Sorry.
I thought it was time that I knitted him...
Oh, and it's in the yarn that I like.
Knit him another pair of socks. And I've had this yarn on the shelf, hoarding. Is that the right word? I've been hoarding this yarn for quite some time.
I thought you'd forgotten about it.
No.
Right.
I hoard yarn.
I'd forgotten about it.
Otherwise
I'd have nagged you to use it.
I've said this before, but I am a bit of a hoarder, and if I get a skein of yarn that I really love and is really precious, I have to keep it for a bit, and it has to just be there, and I have to know that I've got it, and that at any time I can just go and get that lovely skein and cast on that thing that I really want to do. Time came to use this yarn, and it was a lovely gift. It was a gift, this yarn, and I could never easily get hold of this yarn. It's from Moustache Yarns, and the reason that I was gifted this yarn is because of the name of the colourway. Look, it's Boba Fett. I think now actually it's Stacey, isn't it, from Moustache? She's renamed all of her Star Wars colourways because I'm presuming there was some issue with copyright. So I'm sure if she still does this colourway, I doubt that it's now called Boba. It'll be called something else. But this at the time, thankfully, I'm really glad that I've got this one that says Boba.
Yeah.
So it's perfect self-striping sock. It's 75.25, and you get two matching 50-gram skeins that are like twisted together. And they exactly match, so you can get perfectly matched socks without actually having to try, which I think is great. And in this instance, normally I'm not bothered about matching. I've said before I'm not, but I think in this instance I think it will be nice to have them perfectly matching. So I've got that, and I wound them up. This is the one that I haven't started yet, into two little 50-gram skeins. So you can see all the colours there. We've got the sort of grey and green and red and gold of Boba. And I've started a sock, and I've never done a sock like this before for Dan, and I don't know why. I felt so silly thinking about it because I'm doing him a ribbed sock, and I've never knit a ribbed sock before for Dan. And when I thought about it, I thought, well, why not? Because Dan's feet, as you know, are quite large. I think having that stretch that a rib gives you will just be brilliant, and I've just no idea why I didn't think to do this. I felt like such a fool.
I've been wondering for years.
Oh, really? Have you really?
I have.
No, you haven't.
I couldn't understand it, to be honest.
You're just saying that. So I've started a sock. Look at that. So I started with a 1x1 rib, and then I've gone into a 3x1 rib. I'm not keen on socks, on ribbed socks, and I think this is what stopped me doing it, actually. When the ribbing it's just the same all the way down. So say it's a 2x2, so it's just 2x2 all the way down. I think it looks like you forgot to do a bit of the sock. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, it's funny.
Because it's just all the same all the way down, and I think that's possibly what put me off. I just suddenly thought, well, if I do a 1x1 rib, that will actually flow perfectly into a 3x1 rib. So you can see that the pearl...
Oh, it's lovely.
...stitches match up.
I want it on my foot.
It makes me think of like a proper shop-bought sock. A proper shop-bought sock. Did you hear me? Isn't that terrible that I just said that? It is terrible. You know what I'm trying to say. They look very professional.
There you go. That's all you need to say.
Yeah, it looks very professional. So look, you get these
and that, I think, is, that's certainly what I always aspire to with... Everybody's different, and that's cool. And, and I love that. About any art form. But certainly when it comes to knitting, what's so lovely is that there's so much of a scope for, there's knitting a sock and there's knitting a sock.
Yeah.
And, if you want to push it to the extremes, which I certainly do, and you certainly do.
I am a bit of a...
Then that's there for you.
I am a bit of a sort of perfectionist when it comes to knitting, and I do like things to look as professional and as neat.
Well, more
and
power
as
to your
tidy.
elbow. Where does that expression come from?
More power to your elbow.
You never heard that before?
No.
Yeah, that's one.
I think he's just made that.
I have not.
So there's my sock so far. And I love that you get these sections that are speckled. It's just so nice. And I'm just about to hit that gold. Which bit of his
It's armour.
which bit of his armour has the gold bit on it?
I think it's around the shoulders.
Yeah, it's just a bit of detail.
It's not a lot.
No, it's not a lot because
No.
you only get this tiny little gold. I reckon you're only going to get maybe 2 rows of it, something like that.
Yeah.
So these will be shorty socks. So I think I did 15 rounds of 1x1, and then I'll probably do about 25 rounds, something like that, of the leg, if you like, before I start the heel. And then I was thinking about what to do about the heel flap because it's such a specific stripe sequence. I obviously wanted to put in a contrast colour. I didn't want to break up that striping sequence. And I just couldn't think for the life of me what shall I do about the colour to go with that, because I wanted it to kind of more blend in and tone with what was going on. And I happened to have dyed up. I did a little bit of dyeing a couple of weeks ago, and I happened to dye up a mini that I just randomly dyed. I didn't have any plan for it at all. I just wanted some minis to put into a blanket project that I'm working on. So I thought, I'll just dye some up myself. And I dyed up this particular colour, and I didn't write down what I did. But when I held it up against the skein, I thought, ooh, I think that will work. And it's kind of like a gold colour with some speckles in. So look, I think that's going to work.
That looks like bread.
Bread?
That looks like one of those knot thingies that they make.
Right. And I've wound up one of them because I had another one here. So it's like this sort of goldy colour, and I didn't think it would come out this colour, thinking about the dye colours that I put in there. It was very strange, and I thought at first when I did it, I thought, oh, that's not going to be very nice. And then it came out of the dye pots, and I thought, oh my goodness, I love it. So I quickly wrote down what I did. I could still remember because it was the same day. I wrote down what I did and what colours I used, so I should be able to reproduce it, because I would like a full skein of this. It's a really pretty, sort of like a wheaty colour, isn't it? It reminds me of wheat. And I just think that, I know I've got that little bit of gold going on, but it's only a tiny little bit, but I think that will work really nicely. And it's got some browny speckles in as well.
Lovely.
So yeah, I'm enjoying that, and the mini is the same base as this. I use the same base, so it'll all match. I don't really like using a different base for the heels. I know that some people again are not bothered what base they use, but I do like the heel to be in the same yarn base as my actual sock. Just looks more cohesive for me. So I did 72 stitches as normal for down on 2.25, and I'm hoping, I do think that it looks like it's quite a stretchy look. That does look quite stretchy, doesn't it? I really hope it's a good fit, so it'll be interesting to see how good of a fit it is. And I'm enjoying knitting it. Probably the reason that I haven't done a ribbed sock before is that I just think it's a bit of a faff. You sometimes with socks just want that plain knit thing.
Not me.
But lately I've been more inclined to make more progress on things when there's a bit of something going on. So I thought, well, a rib will work nicely for that. So I'm really enjoying it, and I would have done more of this, but when I hurt my shoulder, I was just very conscious that I didn't want to do anything that would make it worse, and just the movement of magic loop pushing in and out, I was just bothered, because it's my right shoulder as well. I was just bothered that would hurt it. So I will now that it's feeling better, I will make a lot more progress on this, I think, and get on with it, because I'm really enjoying it. And the yarn's lovely. I think the striping sequence that she's come up with, I think is great.
Yeah.
Just looks like what it says on the tin, kind of thing.
And then I'll have a pair of socks to match my Boba Fett running hat.
Oh yeah, you will.
Yes, that's a superb hat.
Yeah.
That's a fingering weight too.
It is.
Yeah. But it's been my best running hat by a million miles.
All right.
I long for the days when I need a running hat.
No. Dan Jones?
Yes.
What's on your needles?
Well, it's a jumper, except it isn't, because it's a cardigan. Yes, of course, you'll all be shouting out, it's his clay quat.
You said it differently.
Clay quat.
you all know which it is.
Yes. And I've finished the arms, and I'm on to...
You've finished the yarns?
The arms.
Arms. I thought you said you've finished the yarns.
The arms. And I'm on to the ribbing at the bottom of the cardie itself.
Ooh.
And
Nice ribbing.
Yeah.
It's very neat.
I'm beginning to just be more sort of... I was expecting, and I spoke about this on the last Return to the Centre of the Yoke, and thank you to everyone who has watched that and has sort of given me advice and things on the whole steeking thing. There's been a lot of really good advice, Kay, which I'll just touch on a tiny bit here, because it'll be interesting to get your thoughts. But I think both you and I were expecting there to be some sort of fancy...
Yeah, I thought, I've never steeked before, but I just presumed you'd maybe have like pearl stitch, knit stitch, and you cut up the knit stitch.
Well,
It isn't like that, is it?
And what I did was, because, you never know, there might be different ways of doing it. So I showed it on Return to the Centre of the Yoke and asked people, and everyone said no whenever they'd done it.
It's just a plain little bit of knitting.
Yeah.
Right.
The choices seem to be, with regards to the steeking, was it a crochet chain?
Yeah, you can crochet, or you can machine down it, can't you? Or you can crochet.
Yes.
Yeah, and this one's a crochet, isn't it?
Well, you can do one or the other.
Oh, right, okay. I'm not getting my machine out.
No. Someone else said that they actually used a felting needle.
Gosh, everyone felted it.
Yeah. And she said it worked like an absolute dream.
Gosh.
Yeah. Right. It's interesting, isn't it, to hear the sort of different approaches that people have taken. That's obviously, it's a long way off, and we can make a decision as as to what the right thing to do is.
So you just have a panel of
plain knitting.
That's where the steek's going to be.
Yeah.
And then you're just knitting in the round.
So what I'm doing is, I think I'm knitting.
How much ribbing is it?
I seem to think it's 2 inches.
Oh, so you've done just over an inch there, I'd say.
I mean, it might be 1.5 inches or 2 inches. I suspect it's going to be more like 2 inches at the bottom of a jumper.
Not necessarily.
I mean, I'll double check anyway.
Yeah.
I'll double check. Then I'll be changing needles, and I'm actually going to I'm going to try some wooden needles.
Yeah.
I'm going to try some 4.5mm wooden needles.
Yeah, because they're 4mm, aren't they?
Yes.
Yeah. Why did we say you wanted to try wood now? I've forgotten.
Because my elbows are hurting.
Oh yeah, that's right.
I mean, it might be different though when I'm not ribbing.
So
perhaps I should just go on to 4.5mm normal.
Chowgo. You're using Chowgo.
And just see what it feels like.
I can always change it to the wooden if it's bothering you.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm sort of missing every other jumper I've done when I've knit this.
So you're not enjoying it as much as the other?
It's not that I'm not enjoying it. I just don't feel like I'm particularly engaged with the process.
So you're just doing ribbing.
I know. I like constant engagement, and this is going to be bitty. There's
a big chunk of plain knitting, isn't there?
So there'll be a little bit at the bottom, then there'll be a load of plain knitting through the middle, and then it'll be interesting when I get up to the top. The thing is, though, the whole point of this process was to do the steeking thing, and I'm just torn. I'm torn as to what the right thing to do was. The bottom line is, I made the decision to knit this, and I think you're going to love it.
Oh yeah,
because the colour's perfect.
The colour's great, and the sleeves look great. Oh, you've put the sleeves in the other bag, haven't you? We've shown the sleeves before.
This perhaps is the prime example of where the end product is what I'm aiming towards, and I'm not the process. There'll be elements to the process where I'll learn things, which is great, but it's not the type of sort of Solia type project, or the Samantha.
No, it's not as. There are sections of it that are just not as engaging for you.
Yeah, I think the problem is, so far none of it has been engaging for me.
But you've done the sleeves, and that only had that tiny little bit of colour work, and then the rest was just plain.
Yeah.
And you've got through those.
I know.
You've done really the worst bit.
Yeah. So, hopefully it's all upward from here. You've got to hope, haven't you? And, at the end of the day, when I get to the steeking thing, that's going to be great fun. And I, for the first time ever, once I'd done that front panel, that was the moment when I started then to have my first elements of fear about steeking.
Well, there's nothing to be scared of, is there?
Because at the end of the day,
It can't unravel because knitting unravels that way.
Right.
It doesn't unravel that way. So
Right.
if you're cutting that way, it can't unravel because you're going up. If you cut straight across like that, then it would unravel.
Yeah. Well,
In theory.
in theory, exactly. I mean, what's the yarn again,
yarn's
Kate?
really nice.
But-
It's just this really nice neutral, but it's a very heathered. It's really pretty. I really like it.
Yeah, it's the
And
type
it's,
of garment
you
that
know,
you'd see in a shop. It's the type of, it's
Yeah.
that sort of, it's not a statement, it's very sort of,
No, it's a colour that I will wear. It's lovely.
you could wear it down the street and it wouldn't draw attention for the
Down
wrong
the
reasons.
street. Wear it down the street, whatever that means.
There's certain things, like the penguono.
Won't be wearing that out. No, which I haven't worked on in a while actually. It's just
It's too
quite
warm.
large now, and it's too warm.
Yeah.
So I will get back to it at some point.
So?
Yeah.
So that's my clay quat. The process is fine. It's like a really average cup of tea. You're drinking it and it's fine, and I'm relatively refreshed. But it's a shame that it's not an amazing cup of tea.
No.
But hey ho, ups and downs of knitting.
But I'll love it when
She will,
I
and
will
that's what's inspiring
treasure
me.
it, and I will have it forever.
That's what's inspiring me to
So-
carry on. And the moment I hit the whole colour work on the body, maybe everything will change.
What you'll probably find is you'll zoom through the colour work bits,
Yes.
and then you'll slow down when it's the.
But then
Just
hopefully the
plain
colour work will be
knitting.
underneath, and I'll be looking at it thinking, wow, that's great.
Yeah.
Really looking forward to getting onto the top bit. So, hopefully
Yeah.
it's all upward from here.
Yes.
And of course you can follow the whole process in my Return to the Centre of the Yoke series. What else is on your needles?
Right, well, I resurrected a project, and it's my stitching time blanket. So the first thing I did was I had, when I last showed you, I had 3 blocks made, and I'd only woven in ends on one of them, so I had 2 blocks that I needed to weave in the ends on. And I thought, right, I'll knit the 4th block in that row, and I did that, and then I seamed that whole row together. So the block that I've just finished is this blue one. Oh, it's so pretty, I really like it. And apart from this one, I dyed all of these other 3 colours. This one is a Rivenets, and then these 3 are mine. And I just thought, that's just so nice. So I've seamed that row on. So I've now got 3 complete rows. So I'll hold up what I've done. I think it's so nice. It's only 4 blocks across. I don't know how is that. Can you
Yes.
see that on the screen?
Beautiful.
And 3 rows deep now. And I was not sure about this grey one at the time, you remember? And I just thought, do you know what, I'm going to put it in. Because in the grand scheme of things, I don't think it'll stand out as such. I think it's fine. Because I was just a bit concerned they were all a bit samey. And they are a bit samey, but I thought rather than just waste that block or have to unpick it, and do you know what I mean? I thought, I'm going to put it in, I'm going to throw caution to the wind. So I've got that now, and I think it's really lovely. And I've got a plan for this now. I did think I would just make a little lap blanket, but I've got quite a few little lap blankets now. And then I had an idea, and I think this is what I'm going to do. On our bed upstairs, we've got like one of those sort of quilted runner things. It's actually like a proper quilt, you could undo it and it's like a proper quilt. But I just fold it up and it's like a runner at the bottom of the bed. And I thought, oh, well actually this is the perfect width, being 4 blocks like that. Perfect width to be a runner across the bottom of the bed. So I think I'm just going to keep going until it fits.
That's a great idea.
Yeah, fits the size of our bed. I mean, we've got a king size bed, so it's quite wide, but that doesn't matter. Just say I can just keep going. I really enjoy knitting them. There's no rush for it. But once it is finished, I think what I'll do, because this is all white, it's sort of crisp white, I think I'll treat ourselves, and I'll buy all new bed linen, and I'll get, really bright white bed linen, all, beautiful bed linens. This at the bottom of the bed, where all your other linens are just that really bright white, maybe with like a bit of embroidery around, not embroidery, not lace, I don't know, just something, but all white. And then this running along the bottom, I think it would just look beautiful. And then maybe I could make a couple of little cushions as well to match in little mitered squares. So that's my plan. for this, and I've started another block. I can kind of work out the colours now because this is the top with the bigger border. You can see this is a corner here, and I'm now adding underneath that purple one there, the beautiful purple one. So I thought, oh, I'm going to do pink next because why not? And I haven't done a pink block in a while, so I've started another block and I'm just on the second mitered square. So you can see I use these were 8-inch wooden double points. They were just Knit Pro Harmonies, I think, and Dan cut the end off for me and I made a little Fimo. Do you know the Fimo clay? Made a little stopper and then baked it in the oven and then glued it on the end. So I made a little set of needles. And I really love working on this.
What colourway is
Cause
that?
me any
Has it got
pain.
something to do with sweets? Because it looks like sweets.
No,
I want to eat it.
This is another one of those. It's Woolly Mama yarns. Right. It's from the same. I bought a set of minis. If you remember when I was doing that mini trial, and this is from the same range, and it was dyed up the same way. So that pink is going to look like that one.
I think the pink's nicer than that one.
It's really pretty, isn't it? It's really pretty. It reminds me of the Madeline Tosh yarn that I've got called Voodoo. It really reminds me of that colourway. It's pink with speckles of, like specks of blue and a bit of, it's like turquoise and a bit of purple as well. Really lovely. So I'm working on pink square. This one I think was from Kelly, one of her little 10-gram minis that she sends me, which is very kind of her. So I pop that one in, and then I'm doing this bright pink, and then I've got my one of my favourite all-time pinks ever that I'm going to add in because I haven't got it in the blanket yet, and it's this one, and it's Cascade Heritage, and it's called Strawberry Cream. I love this pink. It's just so pretty. It's gorgeous. I love it. So I'm going to put that in as the third one, and then I just need one more pink. I'll just have a rifle through my kind of leftovers and minis and find one maybe that's a bit darker because those are all fairly light, the different tones. So maybe I'll try and find a darker one. And I made a nice bit of progress.
Cool.
So that's really lovely. And I'm using Cascade Heritage again for the borders, but it's the white, just the plain. I think it's just called white actually, and I really like how bright that looks. This one's my favourite square, pink of course. Oh, isn't that lovely? I love that pink there, and I love this one. Lovely. So, oh, so nice and pretty colours, and oh, just lovely.
I cast on a sock.
Oh, he did.
Look at these colours. It makes me think of the old British telecom bands that used to drive around in
it's
England.
Exactly that yellow. Do you remember
with
that?
The blue BT thing on the side and the dots and the circly bits. The green, I mean, that's a very vivid green. It's a bit Jamaican actually. It's a bit Jamaican flaggish.
It is. You're right.
Yes.
Tropical. It looks very tropical, doesn't it?
It really does. Completely new cast on. Would you believe?
It is.
And I mean, just a couple of days ago. As well.
I looked across at you the other night. I said, gosh, you've nearly finished that ribbon. That's gone quick.
And it's because it's not boring ribbing.
No.
It's a 2x2 twisted rib.
Ooh.
And I promised you I was going to cast on the Peter socks from the Miss Potter Sock Club collection thingy. And that's exactly what I've done.
It has.
It's the Peter socks. And so far the ribbon I'm loving. And it's cool because the ribbon on the other socks has also been interesting. So that's sort of great really, because it's ribbon that, I just find a bit tedious.
Yeah, I mean, I do try to... I think 2 of the designs in that 3-design collection had slightly different ribs. And
Thomasina and Peter.
Yeah, and I do try to think about the ribbon when I design something, because I know that a lot of us find it a little bit tedious. And if I can add something in that makes it a bit less tedious, then I think that's a nice thing to do.
I love the blue bit around the top. It's opal yarn again.
Yeah.
And you've got a whole load of different ones for me to look at, and then you help me pick what would be the right one to show the pattern off right.
Yeah.
And this one, I can't remember.
The label's in there. I put the label in.
Yes, and that's the ball. I mean, look at that. It's great. It's so happy.
Isn't that fun?
It's like the happiest yarn in the history of happy yarns.
It's really fun.
Oh yeah, it's Symphony de Trum.
Symphony of Dreams is the collection. That's what that means. And I wrote down the colourway name inside.
Oh, that's
it's in German. Colourway number is 9617, and it's called Beautiful Meadow.
Right.
I think the theme of the collection was things that you dream about.
Right.
Symphony of Dreams.
Now then.
So, and it stripes up like that, look. Isn't that lovely?
If you want to talk about things that you dream about, I'll talk about things that I dream about.
Oh gosh, can we do that?
Yes.
All right.
How strange is this? I dreamt that there was a massive hornet
Oh gosh,
in the
really?
bedroom.
Really?
Yes. And then I woke up. I don't know, whether I was coming out of sleep or quite what was going on, but I woke up with that dream fresh in my head, convinced
That there was a hornet in the
was a great big bug in the bedroom.
Yeah, but our new things will sort it out that we bought.
Now, amazing. It seems to be working.
It does seem to be working.
We've been frustrated because of the bugs, because we had a very hot
Flies.
spell and there was an awful lot of flies around and I was getting bitten a lot and it's just a pain. So, and also there's lots of flies in the house. So I was looking into, I remember when I was a kid we used to have this thing which you used to push in. You used to push this thing into it and then you'd stick it in the wall and you'd turn it on and it would melt the thing.
Into the socket?
Yes.
Right.
Push it into the wall and it would melt this thing on the inside of it and it would give off this aroma that kept the bugs away. Yes.
Right.
And it also smelt nice.
Oh, was it like citronella? Something like that?
Yeah, something like that. But it was like a tablet that you pushed in that then just it heated up on this plate and then you changed it the next day. Couldn't find anything like that anymore. Instead, what I found were these things which give off this sound, this ultrasonic sound. And since we've started using them, there's barely been any flies in the house.
And we've actually seen flies fly in the window, turn around and go back out.
Crazy. Or if they get
very
in,
odd.
you open the window and it's like they're desperate to get out again.
Yeah.
Which is just tremendous because normally you open the windows and they're like going round and round and round. You're like trying to chase them out and then another fly flies in.
I guess you never know whether these things are real because obviously we can't hear it.
No.
So we could just be plugging something in that's not doing anything at all. But all the reviews were really good, weren't they?
Yeah, I read lots of reviews and they were all exceptional.
And it does seem to be working, and I don't think that can be a coincidence, really.
It's
lovely.
Great. Same size needles as...
pink in there as well.
There is. I mean, that'll be fun getting onto that.
And because I wanted a yarn, opal can sometimes be very Fair Isle-y, can't it? But this one is just stripes. So I thought I'm sure the pattern will show up nicely with that because it's just stripes. That cake's ridiculous.
It is a bit ridiculous.
Got this, I'm having this ball winder problem. And
we have to resolve the ball winder.
The ball winder now produces cakes that are really flat. Can you see how not very high that is? And quite wide. And the problem is when you've got a little sock project bag, it really only sort of fits in. Because I like cakes that are more, the way they used to. I used to get them. They're higher and not as wide. Yeah. But at least it's not falling apart too much. There's a bit coming out, which I just tuck in. But this one's not too bad. It's very hit and miss, the ball winder.
Those are the lovely Peter socks, and who knows where I'll be the next time you see them. I suspect I'll even be down to the heel flap.
I think you'll like the stitch pattern when you get to it.
I'm looking forward to it. What else is on your needles?
Well, the last thing I've got to show you today is another new cast-on. Now this is really interesting. I was on the Rowan website the other day, and the reason I went on the Rowan website is I've got a couple of Rowan books. And I was looking in them because I'm still looking for that kind of elusive fingering weight cardigan, pyjama cardigan. Because although I'm knitting the Penguono,
and I'm knitting the Quinoa.
Yeah, they're both heavy.
Yeah.
They're both really heavy, and I do really want this light fingering weight cardigan still. So I remember those books, and I really prefer to knit garments in pieces, and I know that Rowan, a lot of their garments are knit in pieces. So I was looking through those books, and I couldn't really find anything that's quite right. I thought, oh, okay, let's look on the Rowan website because I've never done that. And you have to sort of buy patterns and things, you have to register, but you just put your email address in. And I was looking through the patterns. There's a lot on there. There's a lot that are free as well, actually. But one pattern just was on the screen. When I went into patterns, it was just there on the screen and it kind of jumped out at me. It's not a cardigan. Of course it's not. I didn't find what I was actually looking for. But I saw this and I thought, oh, gosh, that looks fun. And it's actually a scarf. And I know you're all laughing at me because I said I wouldn't knit another scarf, but this one's very different the way that you knit it. It's an Arnie and Carlos pattern. It's called Ruff, R-U-F-F. That's actually the pattern there, so I won't show you that. And that's black and white. Can't see the pattern very well. I'll describe it to you in a minute. Can you see it just looks like a striped scarf? But the difference with this is you knit it long ways. So you cast on a massive bunch of stitches and then you're knitting it long ways instead of tiny little short rows. So I just thought that looked really interesting, knitting it that way. And it uses lots of different colours of yarn. It uses 8 colours of yarn. The yarn it recommends is obviously a Rowan yarn. It's a Rowan pattern, and it's a yarn that they produce called Summerlight, which is cotton. It's a cotton yarn, and it looks very lovely. And I did price it up to do it in the Summerlight, but with Rowan yarn it was round about £50-60, and I thought, you know, that's a bit pricey really for a scarf. That it might be a scarf that Bryony keeps, or if she's not keen on the colours, then I can use it as a Christmas gift. So that just seemed a bit rich. I really didn't want to spend that much money on something like a scarf. So I had a look around and I found a yarn that seemed a good substitute, and it only cost me, I think it was about £30, so probably just under half the price of the Rowan. And it's from Sheepies, and it's called Soft Fun. And it's a blend of cotton and acrylic. Now I know it's got some acrylic in, and normally I'm not so keen on that. But I thought, do you know what, actually it had a massive range of colours, really fun colours, and you'll see that I kind of went a bit bonkers on the brightness of the colours. But it's just a fun project. It was a really good price, so I thought, and also it's washable, you know, and it's very durable. It's 60% cotton and 40% acrylic. Because the thing with cotton is, and I've not felt the Summerlight, and the fact it's called light probably is telling me that it is a nice lightweight cotton. But cotton can be really heavy, can't it, in weight? And I didn't want a scarf that was like going to feel really heavy in weight. So I thought with this having some acrylic in it, it should be a nice light yarn, and it is really light. It comes in 50-gram balls and you get 140 metres. So it's a DK weight. The pattern calls for 3.75mm needles. This yarn recommends between 3.5 and 4mm, so I thought it was perfect. I'm going to go with what the pattern says. It's a scarf at the end of the day, so the difference is slightly in gauge. Really, I don't think going to make any difference. So I chose 8 colours of this. In a kind of random fashion, I did get some crayons out of Bryony's and I was kind of colouring just to see what would look good. When they came, they're actually much brighter in reality. Some of the colours you need 2 balls and some you just need 1 ball. So the colours that you needed 2 balls, I kept more kind of to colours that I thought Bryony would like. Like there's 2 balls of this pale grey and there's 2 balls of this turquoise, oh, I can't say that word, this colour. And then, but then I've got other blues as well. I've got a dark and a light. Of course I had to have some pink, so I went with this gorgeous bright pink. And then I threw in, for good measure, a purple, a gold and a green. So it's going to be bonkers, but I think because it's knit that way rather than in little stripes, I don't think the brightness of the colours really jumps out at you as much because you're seeing it in a different format. But in any case, even if it's bright, I don't think that's the problem. I think it's just fun, you know, it's just a nice sort of thing. It's an accessory at the end of the day, so I think, and Bryony doesn't really wear bright colours in her clothes. She's a very kind of straightforward, simple kind of girl, isn't she, with her clothes? Yeah. She didn't go for very brightly coloured things, so I think you can get away with it. So I've started it and it is a bit bonkers. I've actually just amended it very slightly because it tells you the length that it comes out. And I measured her scarves that she's already got, and hers are a bit shorter because in the picture it's wound around her neck, which I know is how a lot of people wear their scarves. Bryony doesn't do that. She just puts it around her neck and lets it hang. So I thought, right, I won't cast on as many stitches as the pattern says so that it just comes out that little bit shorter. But it's still a lot of stitches. I'll be honest, it's a lot of stitches. But it's all right. Do you know it's all right? And look, look, you can see how crazy many stitches it is, and I've only done this little bit so far because each row takes me, it must take me 20 minutes to knit a row because it's a lot of stitches. But you know, you can stop halfway, because at first I thought, oh, I don't like stopping partway through a row, but for something like this it's fine, isn't it? You can just stop whenever you need to stop and pop it in your bag and it's totally fine. So I started with the grey, and then you did a stripe of purple, and I'm now on this blue. The striping sequence it gives you it's not just like the same width of stripes all the way up. Some are thicker, some are thinner, and I really like that. And I actually like this side better. Can you see where you see all the changing colour pearl bumps? So one side is going to look smooth stripes, the other side you get all the changing colours, and I really like that. The coolest thing about this is that you actually create fringe as you go. So what you do at the end of every row is you cut your yarn, leaving a tail, and then you reattach it, leaving a tail, and carry on. And I think that's great. And then all you do at the end is just knot those together, trim them all the same length, and you're done. You've got a fringe. So that really appealed to me. I thought that was great. You know, I can't complain about it at all. I think it's a really great little project, and I think if you've one of these people that knits maybe DK weight sweaters and you have leftovers, it might be that you've got 8 colours of DK weight in, you know, a beautiful Malabrigo or some hand-dyed yarns, and I think that would look fantastic. I didn't have that, which is why I bought some. And this yarn's fine. I wouldn't say it's anything to talk home about, really. What?
To write home about.
Is that right? Did I say that wrong?
You said anything to talk home about. It's write home about. It's not anything to write home about.
So is there a saying that?
Because you wouldn't write home about it.
Yeah, no, you're right. I just don't know why I said it that way.
Because you're nuts.
Right, anything to talk home about. I wonder if I've always said that and I'm just...
No, you haven't.
So yeah, the yarn, it's no great shakes. It's fine.
It's nothing to write home about.
It's nothing to write home about. But it's fine. It's totally fine to knit with. I'm enjoying it. No problems at all. And for the price, you know, this would be great for really fun baby blankets, or any blanket to be fair. But they do such a great range of really bright colours. And they've got neutrals as well. It took me ages to choose the colours. I think there was like 60 colours or something. But if I really enjoy knitting this and it turns out well, then I will definitely knit another. I think I will have a little bit left over because I'm making it a bit shorter. And my thought is that I'd make some little garter stitch mitts. Yeah. Stripy mitts just to match. I think that might be quite nice.
Cool.
Just fingerless mitts.
Yeah.
So it's really nice, and if you fancy doing something fun and colourful, then I would really recommend it. It's a great little pattern, and I'm really enjoying it. So that's Rough, and I like the name Rough.
I was just wondering, you know how that's got fringe on it?
Fringe.
In America, would they call them bangs?
No, you see, you wouldn't, would you?
But don't they call fringe bangs?
Yeah, your fringe is bangs in America.
But why isn't that bangs then?
Why don't you call fringing on a scarf bangs? That's a good point, because we just call it all fringe. Yeah.
You could start a whole new movement.
The bangs on my scarf.
Yes! Sounds cute!
Sounds weird, doesn't it?
I like it. Yeah. And I wonder what... I don't ever recall finding out why...
I think it's something to do with horses.
Why would that have anything to do with bangs?
I don't know. Or maybe we call it fringe because it's something to do with horses. Maybe I've got that the wrong way around. I'm not sure. I don't know. Somebody tell us why.
The thing is that there's fringing on lots of things. Fringing is a bit of something that drops down, because there's fringing on the side of... Yeah. So fringing is fringing. I have no idea
why your fringe is called bangs in America.
In America...
It doesn't really make...
Is all fringing bangs, or is just hair fringe bangs? The reason will probably be similar to the whole courgette zucchini thing.
It probably will.
Do you know why there's a difference?
No.
Because courgette comes from the French, which most probably comes from our Norman heritage.
Right.
And in America, zucchini comes from the Italian, which probably comes from their, rich Italian heritage.
Right.
Anyway.
Interesting.
Folks, this, as they say, is it. 6 months ago, like we do every year, we produced the Baker & Bears Advent Calendar 2018. For those of you who don't know, it's for our Baker & Bear patrons, and they get a special little video every morning, just like an Advent Calendar, to open up in the run-up to Christmas. And one of those videos, we decided, I have no idea why, on a whim, we thought, do you know what? It must have something to do with the fact that the year before we'd gone to the Minster, and I wanted to follow through with the whole. Do you know what that means? This year, we should go. Even though we could probably film outside, although it might have changed, we should go to Durham Cathedral. Because then
they were funny about filming, weren't they?
Yeah, they were, but even if we just film the outside, because for the Advent calendar, there's been a few times we've just filmed the outside. So, you know, maybe we'll see. But we went to Ripon Cathedral, and to say we were smitten by Ripon Cathedral would be an understatement.
Wonderful place.
It was only a short visit, but we said then at the time that we had to go back there for a new adventure. And now, 6 months later, that's exactly what we are doing. So come with us now.
Yes.
As we go and enjoy the wonders
You'll love it.
of Inhrypum.
Welcome to a brand new season of New Adventures. Over the next 8 episodes, we've lined up some of the most exciting stories and destinations that we've ever uncovered.
In past seasons, we've focused on the stories of kings, queens, and lords of the manor. But this year, we're going to shift the focus to discover the story of people like you and me.
Because for every fort, stately home, and castle, there were hundreds of houses that surrounded them.
And over the last 2,000 years, those houses became the towns and villages that make up England.
So join us in 2019 as we uncover the most important pieces of history we've ever investigated. This is the story of England, and these are the new adventures of the Bakery Bears. "890 years ago, 13 men arrived here to set up their new home. These men were monks, and they had been members of St Mary's Abbey in York. Now they left St Mary's after a dispute because they wanted to live a poorer, simpler life, and this was the place that they chose to do it.
Those 13 monks built a monastery, and they called it Fountains Abbey. It operated for 407 years, and in that time, it became one of the most powerful and richest monastic houses in England. But we're not here to uncover its fascinating story. We'll actually be doing that in the next season of New Adventures.
Because what's always fascinated me is this road. Heading directly north is leading me towards something.
In all the years I've visited here, and they are many,
There's always been a magnetic pull to find out what's at the end of this road. So today, we're going to find out. Now today, those monks have come and gone, but the cathedral that drew them here still remains. In fact, it's been here for the last 1,350 years. Folks, I'm delighted to welcome you to Ripon Cathedral. So where does Ripon's story begin? Well, in the year 663 AD, the country was yet to be one united force. It was separated up into lots of different kingdoms, and those kingdoms had been formed by an invading force, actually 3 invading forces, from Germany, Denmark, and the Netherlands.
These tribes of invaders came from across the sea and decided to stay in England. They became the Anglo-Saxons, and their 7 separate kingdoms each had their own monarchy. The area around Ripon Cathedral was completely undeveloped land in the Kingdom of Deira.
Now, the king of Deira decided to build a monastery, and the first thing he built was a church. He dedicated it to St. Peter, and then he needed to put a man in charge. So he appointed Wilfrid to be the abbot. Now, that original church has long gone, but I'm delighted to tell you that one thing does remain.
We're making our way down into the crypt, and this is a very special place because it is original. It was created in the 7th century for the first church that was built here, which incidentally was called Inhrypum. Whilst what was above ground has been dramatically improved and enlarged, everything below ground has remained unchanged since the day it was completed. Whilst crypts now appear in many churches across England, this one is unique because it was the first. Wilfrid, the man in charge here, had trained at the Vatican and seen the crypts there and the crowds of people that they attracted. He wanted his new church to be successful, so it made perfect sense that he insisted on a crypts addition. The purpose of this room, deep beneath the cathedral above, was to provide a safe place to store religious relics. These usually consisted of the physical remains of a saint or some of their personal effects, which were preserved as a tangible memorial. These relics would have been displayed in the niches you're looking at now. Thousands of people every year would shuffle through to catch a glimpse of one of those religious relics.
Now, Wilfrid was a man destined for greatness, and whilst he was only abbot here for 3 years, when he died in 710 AD, he was sainted, and he's actually buried behind one of these walls.
So let's imagine that the year is 670 AD. Wilfrid's church lies just over there. We would be stood now in the monastery grounds. But how did those houses get there?
To build his church, Wilfrid needed glazers, stonemasons, and carpenters. So surrounding the religious buildings, small dwellings started to appear. Very quickly, those dwellings developed into a town populated by men who excelled in building cathedrals. And that was fortunate, because over the next 300 years, Ripon Cathedral would undergo 3 transformations before we finally ended with this stunning building, which was completed in 1180.
Now, it was built by the Archbishop of York, a man called Roger de Pont-l'Evêque. And can you imagine the impact this stunning building must have had on the houses that surrounded it? Now, if you remember in the last new adventure, we established that houses at the time when this was built were simple wooden structures with walls of mud and hair. But this was their parish church, can you believe it? And I think it's time that we went inside and explored it.
We're walking through the nave of Ripon Cathedral. By the time this church had been built in 1180, the name had established itself and been shortened down to the name that we know today. So Inhrypum, in Wilfrid's time, had become Ripon by the time of Roger de Pont-l'Evêque. Now, this was the part of the cathedral available to anyone who wanted to come to pray. The term nave comes from the Latin navis, which means ship. It's thought that this is a direct reference to the Ark of Noah. As we come to the end of the nave, we find one of the treasures of Ripon Cathedral. This is the choir screen, which separated the nave from the most sacred part of the building. Beyond lies the high altar. Now, this screen was carved in 1408 and it's 8 feet thick, and it features 8 carved and painted kings in canopied niches. Above, 24 further niches depict people who have played a part in the history of Ripon. The crypt is now directly below us. We're now making our way into the choir. Once the domain of only the most important people, it features some of the most beautiful parts of this gorgeous building. The concept of the choir was developed by the Latin Church, and the word derives from the corona, which was the circle of clergy and singers who surrounded the altar. Now just imagine, 839 years ago, the very first service was held here in this choir, and today at 6 p.m. they continue with evensong, accompanied by the organ above. Now, one of the special little features of Ripon, which I'm not aware of certainly in any of the other cathedrals I visited, is this hand. In the event of there being no conductor for the choir singing at evensong, the organist, who of course sits out of sight in the loft above, can push a pedal to move that hand, which signals the choir below to commence singing. Take a look at that tiny ledge. That is a 15th century misericord or mercy seat. Just imagine standing here in medieval England with a host of angels in the carvings above you. You could stand at evensong whilst actually sitting on that little ledge below, and you can totally see how they got their name of mercy seat. Finally, the cathedral ends with its great east window. It's almost the length of a cricket pitch, shedding light below on the high altar. The many gold figures recall the story of the Christian faith and its journey to the north of England. And if you listen very closely, you can hear the choir in the background, practicing for their lunchtime concert.
Now, would you believe that around this time, Ripon had developed a booming wool trade? Fountains Abbey, which as we know is just 2 miles down the road, were using sheep as one of its main sources of income. And Ripon was the perfect place to process it. They were even exporting huge quantities of wool to the discerning Italian market. Now, I think that we should follow in their footsteps and see if we can find a lovely spot for a little knit. We found you were just saying, it's actually quite busy.
It's very busy.
But it didn't feel busy in there.
It wasn't too busy in the cathedral, no. It's just, we couldn't get parked, could we?
No, it's shocking.
It took us...
Because of the market.
20 minutes
The market,
to find...
Kate, which was formed in the 11th century, the 12th century. The market was built at the same time as this cathedral.
Gosh, right. Does anybody else have this bother that whenever they put their sock projects in their bag, it's fine, and then when you take it out, the yarn has somehow got itself tangled around your magic loop needle?
The thing that fascinated me about Ripon, and Ripon was our hometown.
It was.
I mean, this was where our daughter was born.
Yeah, well, she was born in Harrogate.
But we lived
But we
here
lived 2
at the
miles
time.
from here.
I had absolutely no idea. When you live in England, certainly, if you sort of read a bit of history and, look into the places that you go visit, you'll find that the majority of places that you will go to were either formed by the Romans or by the Normans. And we followed that trail very closely, I think, on New Adventures. Well, for the first time ever, and I had no idea about this. In fact, I thought that it was Romans here, but it wasn't. There was nothing here. until 663. And how amazing to think that the king of Dira, this was the kingdom of Dira, felt like Game of Thrones with the seven kingdoms.
Oh, I know
I'm sure. Well, I know
Game
nothing
of
about it
Thrones.
either, but
We've
you
never
can sort of
watched it.
see where perhaps he got his ideas from.
Right.
And again, it's a part of history which I don't know a lot about, and I was so interested in reading and learning about it, the Anglo-Saxon time, because these tribes had come in, and they'd sort of fought off the native Britons, just in small areas, and then they just turned that into a kingdom. So this was the kingdom of Dira, and the king of Dira thought, I want to build a monastery. And he picked this site, cleared the trees away, and stuck a church up. And that's how the town was formed. Now, that's totally unique for me.
Yeah.
'Cause
Usually the people come first, and then they build a church to serve the people.
Well, in the case of this, as we're going to find out in the rest of the show, the people came really for the church. How did you think a place was signified a city? What makes a place a city?
It's got a cathedral.
You were right up until the 19th century.
Oh, right.
In the 19th century, it was changed. Now, the Queen, the monarch, can award a royal charter to make a place a city.
Right.
So up until the 19th century, Kay's exactly right, and that's the reason why. Now, the funny thing is, Ripon only became a city in 1838, because that's when this place became a cathedral.
It's crazy to think that Ripon is a city, because when we say that, you will think, oh, it's a city, it must be really big. It's really not.
It's gorgeous and small.
It's very small.
Now, where do you think is the smallest city in England?
Wales. It's on the coast.
I don't know the name of the Welsh one. You're showing me up.
I know, but I only know...
St David's.
St David's.
Oh!
It is St David's.
Bring it on!
I only know because I stayed there.
Well, Kay is right. In Great Britain, St David's is the smallest city.
Right.
But in England, what is England's smallest city?
Is it Ripon? No.
No.
I don't know. Beverley? No.
No. I'll tell you.
What?
City of London.
No.
Yes.
Ripon's not bigger than London.
The population, because if you think about it, the City of London...
the City of London is different to London, isn't it?
It is. The City of London
Right.
has 8,000... That's the population of the City of London.
Well, it's because it's a business.
The City of Ripon has 15,000.
Oh, right.
So Ripon is about sixths. But
Sixth.
sixth
What did you say?
on the list.
Oh,
Sixth
right.
on the list.
You can't say sixth.
On geographical size, I mean, it must be one of the smallest. On actual physical size.
It's got to be.
Yeah.
It's very... I mean, it's a small little market town. And yet it's still a city because of this whopping great big church.
And what we're showing is on a busy day, probably the busiest day of Ripon's week, you can still find a quiet place.
We found a little
to
quiet
sit down,
spot.
and it wasn't
which
difficult.
Is lovely. No, it wasn't that difficult actually.
So I think we need to give it a score for knitability. Now, of course, we're knitting here, but you could be painting here, you could be reading a book here, you could be doing
Yep.
anything here.
Yep.
The point for knitability is, can we find a place to get out of the rat race and have a little breather?
Mm-hmm.
Well, we most certainly can.
Yeah.
So what score do we think for knitability?
I think it's surprisingly high actually, because you wouldn't think it, would you, with the way that we had to mess around finding a parking space.
Yeah.
You wouldn't think that you would find this lovely little
No.
haven. So I would probably go with an 8.
I'd go with a 9.
I was thinking 9.
So I think
I
we
was
go
thinking
9. I think we definitely go 9.
Isn't that lovely? It chimes on every quarter hour.
Wow.
And then chimes on, on the hour.
Right.
The bell rings for how many
Right.
hours it is. How many hours?
So
The
9
o'clock.
9 out of 10 for knitability.
Let's go with 9 then.
But that is enough knitting, because
I need to finish my row.
you get your row finished,
Yeah.
but we're going to head off because we still have so much to explore.
Because I've never visited a workhouse before. And I can't wait to try Prince Charles's favourite pork pies.
So you'd better make sure you come back later in the show for part 2. I'll see you then.
Well, all I can say is wow. You can see why we're smitten with that place. Oh my
It's lovely.
goodness. And do you know what? The wonderful thing about making this series and it was Kay who said this on the day, is that you look on places with totally fresh eyes. And as we've already discussed, this is a place where we lived. So, you know, to go back there and suddenly discover all these things which we just had no idea about.
No.
And, you know, to be fair, when I was there, when I was a choir boy, I'm going to come on to that in part 2, I never went round the back.
No.
We walked down the side and in through the side door once.
Right.
But never, I had no idea, you know.
That there's all that, because there's a huge graveyard out the back area, but it's really
Doesn't feel
lovely.
like a graveyard.
It doesn't feel like a graveyard,
It's lovely.
and it's where we were sat, you know, and you know you've got graves all around you, but it was so lovely. I actually quite like graveyards, and I know that probably sounds a bit morbid, but it's not. I don't think it is morbid.
No, we speak all the time about places and the feel that they've got, and you know, really, it's a place of calmness.
It is. It's really peaceful. It's so lovely, and there's lots of trees, and you know people walk through all the time, and it's like you're keeping them all company. All the people that are there, you're keeping them all company, and I think it's just lovely. Really nice.
It's a great place, and still so much to come because I had no idea about workhouses.
No,
at all. So
No,
to find out that there's a museum there.
Yeah, I didn't know all the stuff we found out.
And, you know, also, there's those pork pies.
Oh, my word, those pork pies.
So don't miss that. It's coming up later in the show. And please do remember, everything that you see here, so if you enjoyed that new adventure, but everything that you see here is all made possible thanks to our rather wonderful Baker Bear patrons. And if you'd like to find out more about joining that community, helping us stay on air and empowering us to do more, then just take a read of the above, follow the link below, and you can find out all the details. Now, it's time for us to find out. Kay Jones, what's off your needles?
Just prepare yourself.
Yes.
All right. Are you sat down? Are you comfortable? Yes, I finished it. You know what I'm going to say, don't you? Look.
She was very happy when she finished it.
Look. It's done. That's the back. I'll pop it on. Shall I pop it on?
You should pop it on me.
Oh, I should pop it on you. That's a good idea. It's very warm today, so yeah.
I can model it.
I can use Dan as the model. Oh, look. You're like a highwayman. Oh, it looks really good on you.
I knew it would.
Oh, my word. It looks fabulous on you.
I knew it would.
Look at that. Because in all honesty, it feels big on me. And I think it is intended to be a big cowl. But how amazing does that look on you? I can't believe I've made that now and you look better in it than me. I'm not mad because I think it just looks doesn't that look fabulous? You're all going, oh, it does. You better be going, oh, it does. You better not be going, oh, no, it's a bit girly.
I don't
think it is girly at all.
I feel butch.
Well, I don't know that you look butch. I'm not sure I'd go that far into looking butch, but I think it's fantastic and I'm really pleased with it. I'm really, really pleased with it. I just didn't really enjoy knitting much of it. But, you know, sometimes you have to power through these projects, don't you?
Like the clay quad.
To get the beautiful finished item that it is.
It does look stunning. And, you know,
I think it's fantastic.
It shows off.
It looks amazing.
Handspun yarn in the most perfect possible way.
It does. And I'm so pleased with how it's knit up those handspuns because I would never have imagined that it was going to look like that.
I don't think you could have chosen a better project for this amazing yarn.
No, I don't think so either. So I'm just thinking of the lovely people that gave us that yarn. You know, there's Susan and there's Deb and there's Zena.
Yeah.
It's all their lovely spinning that they've done. And that's just so nice, isn't it, to think those people spun all that beautiful yarn and now you've got it to wear around your neck.
I do.
So, yeah, you do. It does look really good. Because I put it on and it's great, but I did say that I'm only going to be able to really wear it when it's really cold, which is fine, you know, that's totally fine. But a lot of these little cowls that I've got that are this sort of shape, I like to wear them because they're light and small and perfect for sort of spring and autumn days. But this is just something that would be great for winter. But that just looks so amazing on you that I'm not saying I'm going to give it to you because I'm not quite sure that I can do that.
You haven't got yourself to that point yet.
No. No, because
We'll work you up to that
it
over
was
the
such
next
a lot of.
few hours.
Okay, but it does look really good.
You just share it. This feels fine.
It feels. It's not. I mean, it's beautifully soft. All of the yarns were gorgeously soft.
It's not itchy. I don't feel overly warm.
It's not itchy at all. No, there's not one. I wouldn't have used yarns that I thought were going to be itchy because I knew that it's up around your neck like that.
Yeah.
But it's just perfect for you. So get knitting one for the blokes in your life because it's just a great man-sized cowl. I think it's perfectly brilliant. You know, it's perfectly fine for ladies as well.
Yeah.
But it's just nice to find something that works really, really, really well on a man.
It works really well on a man.
Works really well. Couldn't say that.
I love it.
Too many was going on.
I love it.
So that's The Shift by Andrea Mowry. Love it.
Yes.
Fantastic project.
Thank you very much. What
I
else
don't quite know what to say about that.
is off your needles?
Well, this is another lovely thing. Can I just say I've got this bracelet on today, and I love these bracelets. I've got a few of this same designer.
Do you perhaps love the other bracelets?
Yes, I do. And what's the name of them? Can you remember?
Joma or something? Joma?
Joma.
Joma Jewellery.
Joma. Joma Jewellery. They've got a website. They're based in London, but you can also buy them on Amazon very easily.
Not expensive.
Not expensive. And I've got the ones I've got, they're kind of stretchy and they've all got little beads. I've worn them before on the podcast, you might have seen them, and you can bundle them up. So I wear sort of 3 or 4 together and I love them. They've all got little charms on that represent different things. But for my birthday, Dan got me another one and I chose this because I sent you a note, didn't I, about
Just like
it?
she chose a bag.
I know. I didn't realise.
The last time I listened to her with regards to birthday presents.
Didn't realise it's got this dangly bit going on. I love this bit. It says on it, shine. So it's got a little golden section that says shine, and then it's got all these lovely little beads. But this dangly bit, look, can't be doing with that. And I don't think I realised it was like that.
Look, don't feel obliged to wear it.
No, well, I thought I'd wear it today because it's really pretty. Right. But I do really much prefer the ones that are just like stretchy bangles.
Place your bets. If it's off the minute we stop filming.
I'm sure it will be.
That's fine by me.
Right, yes, I've finished my prairie hat. This is a design that I was working on that I showed you last time, I think, didn't I? I think it was last time. And it's all finished, look. It's lovely, and it's got a fluffy mohair pom-pom. I've put mohair pom-poms on things before, and I just love them. This mohair, can you see how it's really, really fluffy? This was a ball of...
It looks like a dribble.
It does. But look. Can you
Put some eyes on
Can
it.
you see it all floating out in the air?
Yes.
This was sheepies again.
Don't feed it after dark.
This is Mohair Rhythm. It's the ball of Mohair Rhythm. And I use about half of a 25-gram ball to make one of these. It's with the green clover pom-pom maker. This particular mohair, I found it's really sheddy. Look, can you see that? And also, it doesn't have silk. It's got like a man-made fibre instead of the silk. And when I was winding it onto the clover pom-pom maker, I was getting so much static coming off there. Honestly, it was like... the fluffy bits were like standing up here and it was crackling on my hands.
I remember.
Yeah. So, it was fine, but I was glad when I'd done it. So, yeah, that's the finished prairie hat. I used Malabrigo sock, and this is water green, and I used half a skein, which is what I wanted to use. I was so pleased that it came out to be half a skein. So, you could get 2 hats out of a 100-gram skein. It's in testing at the moment. The pattern should be out within the next couple of weeks sometime. I'll obviously let you know when the pattern's out. And the photos were fantastic, weren't they?
Yeah, it was just the most amazing thing to photograph. The setting was
the setting
just
was
perfect.
Lovely. And I think
the colour and the yarn and everything about it, and also the fabric just photographs brilliantly well.
The stitch definition is really lovely. Isn't it pretty? Oh, I just love it. Listen to me. But I do just love it. And a lovely ribbing. The ribbing's really nice. It's got something going on, as I was saying before. It's not just a plain rib. And I loved it so much that I've cast on another one straight away. Literally, straight away. As soon as I've finished this, I cast on another that I've started. So I'll show you that one next time. And I'm sure by the next podcast, the pattern should be just about out. So I'll be able to show you the second one that I'm working on. It was So lovely. I absolutely love knitting this.
Yeah.
And I must have, because I've cast on another one, and normally I wouldn't ever start a second something, straight away. It kind of gave me the feeling of working on a lovely pair of socks.
It's funny because your most popular sock pattern is the prairie
it's the prairie socks.
And clearly all those people are clever because they bought it because it is a lovely thing.
Yeah.
The fact that you've cast another one on.
Yeah. It just went so quick. And the ribbing went quick, and on the second one it's going equally as quick, because I'm never sort of in that zone where you've just there are some plain rows, but never for long enough that you get bored. The crown decreases took a bit of working out. There's 2 sizes in the pattern. This is the sort of medium large, which I think will fit heads 21 to 23 inches, I would say. On my head's 22 inches. It's got a nice bit of slouch you will have seen on the photo. And I also tried it on Bryony, whose head is quite a bit bigger, and it fit her really nicely as well. And then there's a size smaller. So it will cover sort of ranges from child, not baby, but maybe an older child through to larger adult.
Yes, it's very exciting. It really is. It's been so lovely to see that sort of coming together.
Yeah.
And what Kay's done is actually she's created a brand new series, and it's called Kay's Design Diary, and you've filmed 2 episodes already.
So far, yeah.
And it's super interesting from my point of view, because I have a certain amount of knowledge just because I've helped a little bit in the back end of producing designs, but I think it's really interesting to get inside someone's creative brain to find out how it works. And so what you've done is you've created this series where you're sort of looking at all the different elements of how you go about designing. So you're showing designs that are early on, and talking about the ups and downs, and sometimes the paths which don't lead anywhere, and then the other ones which do lead somewhere cool. And then you're also showing some more established designs that are towards the end of the design process, and this is one of those episodes. So that'll be coming out towards the end of August. But the series is just so brilliant to watch, just from my point of view as a knitter. I get to watch it obviously because I'm there filming it and then editing it. Learning that process is just cool. And it makes you sort of think about the way you work with regards to certainly as with me. This made me think about how I approach my knitting, and who knows, maybe
it's good. I've really enjoyed doing it.
Well, she certainly seems to have.
Yeah, I really enjoyed doing it so far, so I hope you enjoy it when it comes out.
It's time for us
to go back
to Ripon. I nearly forgot. Oh my goodness, now this is cool. So many elements that we had no idea about. This really is the new adventure part for us, because, we're treading new ground. How could we have not gone into this pie shop before? Oh, we hadn't.
We hadn't.
We'd never been in it, never set foot in it, never tried a pie from it. No. Similarly, 3 amazing museums, all of which looked great. We had to pick one, and the one sort of element which really stood out to me and to Kay is, of course, the links between Downton Abbey and Ripon.
Yeah.
So we shall explore the story of the cheerful Charlies and how one of them ended up in the workhouse as we head back for the second part of the Wonders of Inhrypum.
Welcome back to New Adventures. Now, an interesting question arises, because why in 1538 was Fountains Abbey closed and its roof removed, but Ripon Cathedral, just 2 miles up the road, lived on for us to enjoy today? Well, the answer lies in the lovely town which had built up all around it.
Ancestors of the stonemasons and glazers who had formed the town with Wilfred in the 7th century most probably never left. Thanks to the 4 versions of the church that were built in a relatively short space of time, there would always have been work here. Thanks to the prosperity of Fountains Abbey and its associated woolen trade, the town grew substantially. Ripon Cathedral was the parish church for that growing population, and so it survived Henry VIII's dissolution of the monasteries. The centre of the town is without doubt the market square, and this is it. It was formed around the same time as the cathedral we explored earlier was completed. Today, like every Thursday, the market still operates. It's wonderful to think people have been congregating here for the last 911 years to buy and sell their goods. Now, the central monument that you just saw there sees the practice of a horn blown every night. This tradition began in 886 AD. It was a time of Viking raids, and it was decided someone should stay up through the night to patrol the town and wake people up if Ripon came under attack. He was called the Wake Man. Every evening at 9 p.m, he would blow his horn at the foot of the monument to let everyone know he was on duty and they could sleep soundly that night. This ritual has been carried out every evening for the last 1100 years, and not one night has been missed. There is, of course, one link to Ripon we haven't yet mentioned, and that is Downton Abbey. Within the story, Ripon is the closest city to Downton, and it appears in numerous episodes.
The problem is, it actually doesn't, because the series was filmed and produced in and around London. So why was Downton Abbey set in Yorkshire? Well, it's because when ITV commissioned it, they told Julian Fellows that he had to set it in the north of England. And why did he choose Yorkshire? Because he used to go to school in Ampleforth College, and he loved his time here. So Yorkshire seemed like the perfect place. Now, we've come to Ripon, and how could we not go in search of one of those fictional destinations from Downton Abbey? So why don't we head off to the workhouse?
Welcome to Ripon's actual workhouse. Visited by Mrs. Hughes in season 1 of Downton Abbey, she came in search of and she found one half of the Cheerful Charlies. But what exactly was the workhouse? For many, just saying the word conjures up the image of Oliver Twist begging for food from a cruel master. The reality was somewhat different. The first workhouses actually appeared in the 1620s. They offered the poor handouts in return for work. By 1723, the system was overrun, and it was decided that the prospect of going to the workhouse for help should only be available to those desperate enough to accept its regime. For those families unlucky enough to end up here, on arrival, their clothes would be put into storage, and they would be issued with a uniform, given a bath, and subjected to a medical examination. Men and women were separated. Those who were able to work did so for their bed and board. Women took on domestic chores such as cooking, laundry and sewing, while men performed physical labour, usually stone breaking, oakum picking or bone crushing. Conditions were basic. Parents and children were permitted to meet briefly every day and on Sundays, and inmates ate simple fare in communal dining halls and were compelled to take regular supervised baths.
It was actually the formation of the National Health Service in 1948 that saw the end of the workhouse structures across England. The organisation that ran the workhouse, it became in effect the National Health Service, because a lot of our National Health Service hospitals actually used to be workhouses, and it's still the case actually to this day. And what a fascinating look into one of the most important parts really of our social history, and it's something that I knew nothing about. Now, my tummy is rumbling, and I'm on the hunt for a pork pie fit for a king.
To get one of those, we need to head to Appleton's. Their story starts just down there on Kirkgate. Thomas Appleton was a bright-eyed 19-year-old who became apprenticed at Smithson's Butchers. 5 years later, Mr. Smithson died and the business transferred to young Thomas. His principle was simple: select the finest meats for the people of Ripon, and it served him well because his shop thrived. In 1936, it moved to its landmark black and white building right here on the market square, and its customers have even included our future king. So, with pork pies in tow that have graced a royal table, let's see if we can find somewhere lovely for a little picnic.
Folks, this spot was too perfect. We had to come back here and have our lunch. Talk about amazing pork pie.
Oh, yes.
My goodness.
Oh, I love a pork pie.
Fit most certainly for a king. You can see why Prince Charles went in there, and I've actually got a picture of him.
It's the pastry that does it for me for a pork pie. Oh.
And the thing that I don't like, and lots of people do like, but people really go for the jelly.
The jelly.
Not a jelly lover, I'm afraid.
Not a jelly fan.
No thanks.
No.
Don't like the jelly.
See, I think a good pork pie doesn't have very much jelly.
No, I agree. But some people would disagree with you strongly.
Yeah.
And actually, if you warm one up, the jelly melts.
It doesn't. That's okay.
Yes. Pork pie etiquette.
Yeah.
Now, you see, I wonder what globally the situation is for pork pies. I don't think it's going to be...
What do you mean, the situation?
Can you go into a shop anywhere in the world and buy a pork pie?
No. I think it's very English, a
So do I.
pork pie.
Yeah, I would agree with you.
Yeah, I don't know any other country where it would be.
Well, I would say that is
Easy
about...
to find.
It is about the best pork pie that I think I've ever had. And we're taking one home too. This is a gorgeous place. I miss it.
I miss it, actually. We never really appreciated
No.
it, I don't think,
No.
did we? I mean, we used to come in on a weekend,
Yeah.
didn't we? And
Yeah.
there's a Chinese that's still here that
Phenomenal.
we used to go to
Lovely.
sometimes for our tea, didn't we, after work?
In all the years that we lived here, I mean, it wasn't that long actually.
No, it's just a couple of years.
In the
that's all.
2 years that we lived here, we never went into Appleton's and got a pork pie.
We didn't, no, we didn't.
What
I
were
don't
we
think we really
thinking?
knew about it. I don't.
We were such scruffs going in the Chinese, but not in the pork pie shop, just over the way.
No, it was night time. It
That's
wouldn't
true.
have been open.
The other thing that has always fascinated me about this place, it's not that it's fascinated me, but drawn me to it, is this just stunning cathedral.
And I know we never came in here when we lived here either.
Look,
but
folks.
you did because you used to sing here.
And we are gonna cover that, because that's the
Right.
one part of the story we've not covered. So we'll come on to that in a little
Right.
bit. There's one particular bit of footage which you've not seen yet, and I'd put on, you're going to see it in a moment, I'd put on that I need to walk forward, look at the choir stalls wistfully. And whilst I had instructed myself to do that, the emotions that you see are real. I was genuinely feeling quite, because it just brings back so many memories, because the story that goes along with this place and my visit and my singing, it changed my life. We need to give this place a score for interestability
Right.
and picnicability.
Right.
So let's tackle picnicability.
Well, there's tons of options actually to buy food.
Sit down restaurants,
Yeah.
pubs,
Pubs.
supermarkets,
Yeah.
quick pick up of food,
Yeah.
Appleton's for a pork pie,
Yeah.
fish and chip shops.
Yeah. I mean, it's
How
gotta-
could you
it's
not
gotta
give
be
it 10?
10, hasn't it? It's got to be a 10.
Ripon is scoring highly.
Yeah.
So 10 out of 10 most definitely. Interestability.
Well, that's going to be really high as well, isn't it? Don't you think?
I mean, do you know how much it
Because-
costs to get in there?
Should we tell you how much it costs?
It's free.
Nothing.
Now, we, of course, did not pay nothing. We
didn't
made
pay,
sure
yeah.
that you can...
You can leave a donation,
Yes.
but no, it doesn't cost you anything to go in. And you can spend as long as you want in there. You can go and sit down on the chairs and just, be peaceful. It's
And
just lovely.
the thing that, for me, blows my mind is 500,000 people every year go and visit Fountains Abbey. And it's a fraction of that come here. And if you want to walk into a building which gets you as close to what Fountains Abbey would have been, this place was built 20 years. Now, there obviously was a church here beforehand, but this current building was built 20 years after Fountains Abbey.
Right.
So you can rest assured, given the fact that this town was formed from glazers and stonemasons, that the people who built Fountains built this place. So walking up that church is just the same as walking up Fountains Abbey Church.
The big window.
It's stunning.
The stained glass window, you will have
The
seen
east
it.
window.
Is it the east window?
Yeah.
Oh my goodness, it's the prettiest window. And on a
breathtaking.
day like today where it's really bright and sunny outside, you get
It's
all the
breathtaking.
colours. It's just like jewels. Just it's like, it's just fantastic.
So what you and And we've not even mentioned the workhouse museum. There's also there's a prison museum as well that you can go to, and there's a courthouse museum that we've just not had time to fit in today.
Yeah.
I think that's a day out in itself, just going to those museums.
And then, of course, there's the town where there's lots of lovely shops. There's an independent bookshop that is really lovely.
And the best supermarket in the world, Booths, score.
10.
Yes. So, folks,
From Len.
what an absolutely stonking score, because I absolutely concur with Kay. It's a 10 for interestability. So, Ripon Cathedral scores 29 out of 30.
Goodness.
Have we ever had a perfect score before?
No.
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 Might this be the highest? I'm going to need
This
to
is
look
the
back
highest. I've got to think.
through the
this is
series.
highest.
It's got to be close.
It's got to be the
Yeah.
highest, I think.
Folks, you've got to come here. Now,
Yeah.
would you like me to tell you the story of when I came here and sang?
Ah,
When I was a little chorister?
yes, please.
Okay.
As I recall, the year was 1987, and I was a 12-year-old, rather tall and shy choir boy. Every year, we would take part in a 3 choirs festival, featuring the cathedral choirs from York, where I was a pupil, Durham, and here at Ripon. This is the Ripon Cathedral Library, and it's where we rehearsed. I also recall this was where we put on our cassocks and surplices. We would then walk down these stairs and make our way to the choir or the nave to sing. There's 2 things I remember vividly. The first was singing here in the choir. The acoustics are just wonderful, but it was the hand in the organ loft that fascinated us the most. In one particular service, they decided it would be fun to use it, and they did. And I can recall like it was yesterday, waiting for the hand to move, and then the 3 choirs filling the cathedral with song. The festival always concluded with a big concert here in the nave, and this was a night which really changed my life as a musician. The 3 choirs performed, and I remember in the rehearsal, just before the big final concert, we were here singing through the programme for the evening. Now, the best chorister was always put in the middle of the choir. They were normally the head chorister or his deputy. I was still a year away from potentially being chosen as one of those boys, so I was happily singing away at one end of the choir. Suddenly, the choirmaster stopped the rehearsal. 90 boys and 30 choirmen watched and waited. The choirmaster walked over to the head chorister and asked him to step forward. He then pointed at me and said, "Step forward." He told us to change positions. I was now stood in the centre of the choir. I will never forget how that unspoken act transformed my confidence.
And I remember when the concert was over, rushing out that door to hear where I was going to get picked up to tell my mum what had happened. And I honestly believe that that one act was the catalyst that created the musician and the man that I would go on to become. And I think that is the perfect note to end this wonderful new adventure.
And what a journey it's been, from the history of the workhouse to Wilfrid's captivating 7th century crypt.
Ripon Cathedral is without doubt one of the hidden gems of Great Britain. So the next time you feel a magnetic pull towards a hidden destination just on the horizon, don't make the same mistake I did and leave it 30 years before you bother to go and visit, because this, folks, without doubt has been one of my favourite new adventures ever. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time for more new adventures of the Bakery Bears.
Folks, I told you it was a good show.
It's a good one.
Oh my goodness. Now then, I can now confirm that the highest scoring places in any of our 2 seasons so far, and we're partway through season 3 of New Adventures, the 2 top ones are Aidan Castle, top scored with 29
Did it?
last year.
Oh, right.
Yes. So only one. So the top scoring destination from last year, 29, was Aden Castle,
Right.
which we absolutely adore. That place.
We've
It's just-
been back several
we have.
times since.
It's a wonderful place to visit. But then in season 1, the top score was only 27.
Oh.
And 2 places tied. It was a tie. Although I think we decided that the winner was Finkel Priory.
Oh, yeah.
Because Finkel Priory
We love that.
and also Corbridge Roman Town, which we did really enjoy because
We
we
did.
went back there
we did
too.
go back there.
They're both
Yeah.
tremendous places,
Yeah.
but they only scored 27. So yet to be a 30. There is not a 30 yet. And one day, I'm sure, what I love is, over the course of these series, the scores are going up. So we're clearly getting better and covering the stories that are associated with these new adventures. I could not recommend Ripon to you more. It
absolutely.
is, without doubt,
If you're able to
my
get
favourite
there.
place in the world.
You
Other than Rome.
you could easily go on holiday in that area, for quite a few days, because you've obviously got fountains.
You could go to Ripon for a week, definitely.
You could easily go for a week. There's plenty to keep you busy.
There
all
really
in
is.
that all in that area.
Yeah, because if you think
Lots of
about
lovely
it,
walking as well.
if you think about it, there's Fountains Abbey, there's Brimham Rocks, although we don't really like it very much, but go for a morning, it's worth seeing.
Yeah.
There's also that really cool place, I can't remember the name of it, where we went, it's someone's house, remember, it was moats around it.
Oh, Markington Hall.
Look at her go! Look at her go! Ripley Castle.
Ripley Castle.
There are loads of places.
There are.
It's just phenomenal.
Yeah.
So
It makes me want to move back there,
Yeah.
honestly. We really said when we were there, gosh, I really miss it. We both said it, didn't we?
it has the loveliest feel.
I
of
would
anywhere.
love to move back to sort of Ripon area.
Yeah.
And I'd actually, what I was thinking when we were in the town was I'd love to live just maybe a couple of miles outside the town.
Yes.
So that you could walk in.
Yeah.
That would be just beautiful. Yeah, because there's a canal as well. You could
Yeah.
walk along the canal.
You could go down the canal.
You could, yeah. You can actually go on trips on the canal as well. That's another something you could do.
Oh, we should totally do that in the summer.
Yeah, you could get yourself a pie from the pie shop.
And go on there.
Go on a trip on the canal
And eat the pie.
Eat your pie.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then go have a look around the church.
Perfect.
Winner.
Oh, I need to do that now.
Now, you know what that means. Next episode, it's time for a brand new pudding club. And to say that I am excited about this pudding club
Yes.
it's the understatement of the millennia.
It could be catastrophic.
Because the prospect of Kay in the kitchen with power tools, this is going to be one of the best. I cannot wait to film this.
Yeah, I know.
Because
I'm a bit scared
it is guaranteed
about prospect.
to make excellent viewing.
Yeah, I'm a bit scared about this particular item that I'm going to purchase. You don't need this particular item. You can use an alternative.
You can.
But it just seemed
This
fun.
is television,
It's
and it's about
fun.
entertainment, and that's what we're going to do. And also, what's going to come out the other
Yeah.
side of it is potentially a cake that will rival that Coca-Cola.
Absolutely. It's
Yes.
incredibly summery, perfect for Wimbledon season. It's got all of the ingredients that make a perfect summer dessert or afternoon tea.
You folks are not going to want to miss episode 130, out in 2 weeks. Now it's time for us to find out all about today's Endy Bits.
That was weird.
I know.
Did you say that wrong and then adjusted it?
No, I thought I would just say it a little bit differently for a
right,
change.
okay. We've got the... Look, can you... I'm going to
It's jangling. Oh, is this the next prize?
Yes.
Oh,
We've got the knit along ongoing for the Swish and Flick.
Florence won last time.
Yes, Florence,
Yes.
she got her yarn
Yes.
and she really loves it.
Yes.
So thank you, Florence, for letting us know you received that safely. So we've got the third pattern due out. And
Next time.
it will be out on the next podcast. So that's really, really exciting. This
My
is Dan's favourite. Oh, high expectation, high sort of,
Yes.
Yeah.
It's tremendous.
Yeah, it's a really,
It's
really
tremendos.
lovely one. It's a really lovely one.
This
I think you'll all enjoy it.
Is the pattern which caused me to say that Kay had a wild side. And that is all I shall say about that.
Hardly. So as with the other ones, I will be putting up the pattern page a week before. So that'll be like next Friday, so a week before. And it won't show any photos, but it'll show the type of project it is, and I'll say what yarn I used as well. So that if you want to, you can go through your stash, or you can go and purchase something if that's what you want to do. So we've got that knit along going on at the minute. The thread is just unbelievable. The comments just are piling in, and I'm in there every day checking them and chatting away with everybody. And the burrow wraps that are now being finished are just absolutely beautiful. There's
and the Whispers in the Wall socks
loads
too.
of socks people have already finished. The Whispers in the Wall socks.
I was torn when I cast on those Peter socks.
Yeah, you were going to do
was so
that.
torn,
Yeah,
but
you were.
I made the commitment to myself that I would finish off.
And I've had a lot of people ask me whether I'm going to release the patterns individually, and yes, I am going to do that, and I'll do that in December. The club finishes at the end of November, so early December I would say they will all be available individually. So,
And remember, the best place to keep track of all case patterns is at the address below. It's our website, and all case patterns are on there. Absolutely every pattern she's ever done, and there's all the different ways that you can go about getting hold of those patterns as well on the site.
Yeah, but I thought I'd show you what the next prize is going to be, because on the next episode we're going to draw for the next prize, which is another skein of the yarn that I dyed up, and I've chosen this one, which is Polyjuice. Oh, look at that. It's so fun. I've knit with this. I've knit it into several different projects, and it's lovely. It works up really nicely. So this is Polyjuice. So this will be the next prize. And I've got something really exciting to tell you. And I can tell you now because it's winging its way from America.
Now I know.
It's currently somewhere over the ocean.
Yes.
My lovely friend Sasha, very kindly offered to sew some project bags as prizes.
Where?
For the Swish and Flick.
Oh my goodness.
So of course I said, my goodness, that would be so kind. And I thought she'd probably do one or two for us. Well, she's not doing one or two, she's doing a whole bunch. And I've seen the fabrics, and you are going to absolutely love them. So there's going to be some more prizes, and there'll be a backdated prize for the first pattern.
Oh, that's nice.
So what I'll do when the bags arrive, which I should have them for the next episode, fingers crossed, I will when I draw a prize for the next winner, I will go back and I'll redraw from those same numbers that I drew for the first prize for the prize of the bag that I'll be able to show you.
Excellent. Oh, well, that's
So Sasha, amazing. She has sold her bags in the past, but her shop isn't currently open, so she's not currently selling bags. If she ever reopens the shop, I will of course let you know, because her bags, it's all of these up here. I'm always talking about Sasha, because she just sews the most perfect project bags. I can't fault them. I cannot fault them. She used beautiful fabrics. Her sewing is impeccable. So Sasha, I've thanked her a bazillion times, and she knows that, but thank you so much. So hopefully I'll be able to show you those next time. Too exciting. So I'll be drawing for that next time.
So that is super exciting. I can't wait to see those bags. It's so wonderful that there's a backdated one as well.
Yes.
So just more prizes. That's what we love. Neil, before Kay shows you one or two of her little purchases, our latest Quest for the Perfect Slice of Cake came out just a few days ago, and it's a corker. We go to Mrs. Pumphrey's house for tea. Do you remember All Creatures Great and Small? That's something that we covered on favourite places to knit, and we actually couldn't get into the house then because it wasn't open as an antique shop and tea room, which is what it is now. So perfect for us to go back for a visit to see if they sell the perfect slice of cake. So you can watch that now, because it was just a wonderful place to visit. Yes.
Yeah. So the first thing is, look at this, fabulous. This is how this particular purchase arrived, in a fabric bag. And this is from Sherry Iris. It's from lovely Sherry. I kind of can't stop purchasing her minis and her yarn altogether. It's such a lovely experience. This arrived. This is her. It's like a June it's a wildflowers club, and this was for June, so everybody should have received this now, but just as a pre-warning, this is the June one. You get 5 20-gram minis, and then she always puts in like a little lavender bag, and it's a good size lavender bag. It smells fantastic. So I just throw these in with like projects that I've got on the go, like blanket projects and things. They're just amazing. And within the little package, you get It's all themed, and the theme for this one was strawberries and raspberries and like thistles. It was all those sorts of beautiful sort of summery items. There's a little bit of artwork that she's done. These are the strawberries. So she painted these.
Wow.
I want to frame this. I want to get a teeny tiny frame and frame it, because aren't they just lovely? Her artwork is just beautiful. So you get a little piece of artwork, and then you get lots of bits of information about strawberries and about thistles and about poppies. Just lovely. And then there's a poem as well about strawberries. It's just so lovely. And then of course there's the yarn. So this is the yarn. Oh, and a stitch marker with a strawberry. Can you see that? And this beautiful yarn. It's just gorgeous. It's just beautiful. And these will be going into a design project that I've got on the go that I'll hopefully be showing you next time. But I'm going to save these and take them on holiday with me, because they're just so gorgeous. Look at those. And Sherry doesn't, the thing that are unusual about her minis is she doesn't dye these separately. She dyes 100 gram skeins and then winds them into minis. Now I know what a task that is. I'm blown away that that's what she does. So, you know, kudos to you, Sherry, for doing that. And the artwork again is on the ball band. I can't bring myself at the minute to use this, which is why I'm saving them for my holidays, and I think by then I might be brave enough to use them. But just such a beautiful purchase. I actually went this morning to buy the July one, and it looks like it's sold out, which is a bit of a devil. But I wasn't quick enough, but I will be quick enough for the next one, I'm certain. I will get in there.
What else have we got?
So that was that. And then the other thing that I've got, I didn't buy this, I actually dyed it myself when I was doing just a little bit of dyeing recently. And I wanted to dye myself a colourway that was just a really calm and peaceful colour. Just something, you know, beautifully summery and pretty and just lovely and calming. So I dyed up this colourway. I don't know why I put a ball band on it. This is just for me. I put one of my ball bands on it with the name and everything. I don't know why I did that. I really needn't have done it. But it's really soft peaches and like a goldeny peach with then a little bit of silver running through it. And I called it Tranquility, because to me it's very tranquil, isn't it?
It's gorgeous.
And I think, again, I might take this on holiday with me in this pair of socks or something.
Cool.
I'm not sure what I'm going to do with it, but I just wanted to give myself a little present. Sounds a bit silly now I've said it, but so that's just for me.
Wonderful. Thank you so much for your lovely Endy Bits. That, ladies and gentlemen, is the end of the show. Thank you so much for watching. We'll be back in 2 weeks with just the best pudding club ever. Who knows how it's going to go, but watching Kay operate this thing in the kitchen, seriously, you don't want to miss it. So, folks, have a great 2 weeks.
Have a lovely time till we see you again.
Absolutely. And for those
Hope
of
it's not too hot.
For those of you who've stayed until the end, folks, unfortunately I can't tell you any more about what's happening in August, but what I can tell you is, if you tune in next time on the next show, we can tell you exactly what's going on in August.
Fantastic.
So remember, this is our brand new project. It's for everyone. And I hope you're going to love it.
I hope so too.
Oh yes. That's it, folks. We'll see you in 2 weeks for more.
See you soon.
Bye.
Sitting and knitting, it's Dan and Kay, the bakery bears. Enthusiasm's not quitting for Dan and Kay, the bakery bears. They'll take you to fabulous places of which their favorites they'll share. You better buy a pattern, get yourself a bakery bear. You'll find yourself in a castle while watching the bakery bears. It never feels like a hassle to sit and watch the bakery bears. What's on your shelf or